Hello everyone, today I wanted to do something a little bit different. Since Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is now coming towards the end of its life, we're probably going to get DLC 4 within the next 2 months, and then of course when Call of Duty World War II comes out in November, then the game is pretty much going to be entirely eclipsed by that, and that'll be the end. RIP Infinite Warfare. But I wanted to take a moment in today's video and kind of talk about what Infinite Warfare did right, because I'm probably one of the only people who actually like the game, and as someone who kind of supports it, I kind of wanted to bring to the forefront some of the things it did better than some other Call of Duty games and some things it innovated on, because a giant amount of the Call of Duty community haven't even played Infinite Warfare. A lot of people were just turned off by the setting, they just didn't like it, didn't buy it, that's why the sales are so bad. So as someone who has played it for a long time and sort of invested a lot of time into it, I thought I'd be one of the better people to kind of throw my opinion out there on what it actually did right, because there's a lot of things that Infinite Warfare actually did really well that some of the other developers could, you know, take a look at and think of incorporating that into their next game. So the first big one that I noticed pretty much immediately, even when playing the beta, is player collision with the environment and other players. Now it sounds like a small thing, but if you've been playing Call of Duty for a number of years, you've probably noticed player collision issues, which is basically when you're online and you run into another player, for example, your screen jitters. You can still see this on games like Black Ops 3, Modern Warfare Remastered, pretty much anything that isn't Infinite Warfare. If you collide with another player in any kind of way, enemy or friendly, your screen jitters and you kind of shake around a little bit, and it's just not a good time. It messes up your aim, and obviously this means you can also get stuck in doorways. Say if there's a player in front of you, you can't get through that doorway because he's blocking your way. In Infinite Warfare that doesn't happen because it has a clipping feature that allows you to clip through players. So if you're kind of on the outer edge of them, you can just go straight through them. It's almost like they're invisible, which is a really good thing because this avoids you colliding with players and having that screen jitter. The other thing with the environment as well is you don't get stuck on as many objects in Infinite Warfare, certainly through my game time anyway, than I've had in previous Call of Duty games. I feel that Infinite Warfare is so much less clunky of a game, and I think this is down to Infinity Ward's engine, because Ghost was another one of these that was just not as clunky as some of the games like Advanced Warfare, where the movement and everything is very just jittery and it doesn't feel proper. Ghost obviously had a lot of issues of itself, like frame issues and stuff like that, dropping all the time. Infinite Warfare doesn't really suffer from that, from what I've experienced anyway. But yeah, that's a big one, is player collision and environment collision. That could certainly be improved on newer Call of Duty games. From what I've heard from players and YouTubers who have actually experienced Call of Duty World War II early, that game does not have this system that Infinite Warfare has, which is a bad thing. That means you are going to experience player collision issues in World War II, so that's something that Infinite Warfare is going to have one up on, and I think that's something that they could, you know, incorporate in later Call of Duty games. So the next one is the supply drop system. So this is a very unfavorable topic from a lot of fans in the community. So a lot of people I've heard say nearly everywhere are saying that Modern Warfare Remastered has the best supply drop system. I disagree with this statement. I think this is coming from such a large amount of people because they haven't played Infinite Warfare. So for those of you who don't know, I'll give you a quick catch up. Infinite Warfare, the supply drop system in that game, if you own a season pass, you get instant access to the DLC weapons when they drop. So as soon as a fresh batch of new weapons comes out, you get access to every single one of them for free as soon as they drop. The only exceptions to this that I've seen is the axe, which is locked away in supply drops. It's literally just an axe, like it's a melee weapon. That's the only weapon in Infinite Warfare that you can't get for free through the season pass. And the other one is the UDM, because you actually have to do a challenge for that one. I don't know if that was a glitch or something, but when it came out, you didn't get the UDM instantly. Like, I had to do a challenge to get it. And that's the other thing as well. If you don't have the season pass, every weapon that's added into Infinite Warfare you can earn for free by doing a challenge for that weapon. So there is zero effort from you at all having to try and get them out of supply drops. You never have to try and get a new weapon in Infinite Warfare through a supply drop, except the variants. But even then, it's so much fun just to have the base weapon, try it out and have a feel for it, and then just if you get a variant in a supply drop, then, you know, woohoo, lucky you kind of thing. So I think that's the perfect system. And also you've got the salvage system as well, where you can craft variants that you want. Literally nothing is locked away in supply drops, you know, that you're really going to care about, apart from maybe, you know, the epic Mark II variant of a specific weapon. But at the end of the day, you only have to play the game and earn keys, and you can do that yourself anyway. So literally there is no reason to spend COD points in Infinite Warfare, and I'm sure a lot of people haven't anyway because nobody really wants to, but that is a very favourable system. I don't know if it'll happen again, just because Infinite Warfare didn't sell well. I think Activision would just like, screw it, we're not even going to bother trying to put things in supply drops, we'll just give it to everyone for free. Maybe that was the issue there, which is a shame if that's the case, because that means going forward with more popular games like World War II, we won't get a system like that. But then again, they could go down the route of Modern Warfare Remastered, which isn't a horrible system, but just saying, I think Infinite Warfare had the best supply drop system. So the next one that I've sort of really thought about is the graphics. So I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this one, but I think the Infinite Warfare graphics are actually really, really good. I think it's running on the IW7 engine, I believe, and I think it looks really nice. A lot of people with Ghost had which was their last game, had an issue where it was very grayscale, so all the colors were very dark. There wasn't any popping colors, nothing bright, and I see a lot of people bring up this issue again with Infinite Warfare, and I just don't see it. It almost looks like a completely different engine. You can tell it is the Ghost engine but improved, but it's so much brighter, and there are parts of Infinite Warfare that are even brighter than Black Ops 3 easily. There are maps that just the color just pops more. So that's something I really like about Infinite Warfare, is that it's just not as dark and as gritty, which it sounds funny to say because that's what we're getting with World War II, but I think that's a good thing for Infinite Warfare because it's a future game. I think they needed that. I think if they tried to make it a dark and gritty future game, it just wouldn't go well, especially with Ghost and that bad grayscale issue. I think it was really good how the graphics looked in that game, the color balance and everything like that. I think that would look even better in like another future game. The next thing that I want to bring up, and pretty much the last thing for this video, is the balancing. So this is another thing that probably going to get a lot of like flack for, but I think the balancing in Infinite Warfare was actually really, really good. So if you think about it, every single weapon in Infinite Warfare is usable and you can do well with it. There have been balancing issues, but every Call of Duty game gets that, and to be honest, I think Infinity Ward has been one of the fastest to smash down those issues. I think the one we had for the longest time was the NV4, more specifically the flatline variant, which literally had just infinite damage range, but then they nerfed it so that that variant now has a slower rate of fire, so that balances it out because it's just crap at close range. Like, you try and use the flatline at close range, you're going to get melted by a chaos or something. But another balancing issue I had was the VPR, which is, off the top of my head, is literally the only other one I can think of, which was completely broken for a while. Like, when the VPR first came into the game, it was too weak, then they buffed it too far and it was insane laser god weapon, and now it's where it should be. So they definitely sorted that out pretty quickly as well. It was in like a matter of weeks, they kind of buffed and nerfed it to where it needs to be, and that was all off community feedback. So the fact that listening to the fans is a really good point, so that could be another point on its own. And there's the speed at which they fix these issues, which is another point on its own. It's speed and patches and updates and how they sort the hot fixes out and everything. And then there's the balancing as a whole. It's just really good across all the weapons, and then the perks as well. I think the perks are actually really good. There's no perk in the game that I feel I have to run. There's perks that I prefer, but looking at nearly every other Call of Duty game, there is one crutch perk that is just on every single class. Like Black Ops 2, you have Blast Suppressor because nobody wants to be seen when they're thrust jumping in such a thrust jumping game. So Blast Suppressor was a big one. That's not in Infinite Warfare, so that's not an issue. It's not a crutch perk because it's not there. You had Fast Hands, which was a bit of a problem in Black Ops 3 as well. That's not in Infinite Warfare. Instead, you have Dexterity, and then obviously you have a Quick Draw as an attachment, and they just work differently. And it just, I don't feel like I need to run Dexterity. Like weapons like the FHR-40, I think were loads fast enough, so I don't have any reason to run Dexterity. So there's a lot of good balancing with the perks, and then there's the payloads as well. Like, I feel like every payload has its place. Like, if you want a camo up, you can use active camo. If you want to use something a little bit different, you've got phase shift, then you've got all the weapons, which I feel have their own different ways and unique ways of using them. If you want a close quarters machine, you want to go with a claw, because you take the claw out, you decimate everyone in the room. But if you want something a little bit more long range, maybe the equalizers, but they're akimbo and they're silent, and you can actually shoot them quite far, so you'd be shocked at how much distance you can get off them, whereas a claw just stops after a certain point. It's more of a close range weapon. And if you want that really long range, you've got the ballistic EM3, which is just a sniper rifle. It's absolutely deadly at long range, but terrible at close range. So everything has its kind of place, and I think Infinite Warfare just balanced everything so well. So that's one of the big points as well. So that's kind of like a roundup of everything. You'd probably think this video would be very short, a video that actually complemented Infinite Warfare, but it did do a lot of things pretty well, and they're pretty big points as well. Things like, you know, player collision, graphics, supply drop system, balancing. These are core pillars of a Call of Duty game, and Infinite Warfare nailed it. Say what you want about the game, but Infinite Warfare nailed it with that. Hopefully these carry across to Infinity Ward's next game and whatever Treyarch are doing next, and that would be a pretty good thing then, to see a game kind of take these points that actually were really good about Infinite Warfare and turn it into an even better game that maybe the community, you know, fall in love with and buy a ton more than they did IW. So yeah, anyway, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you on the next video.